with me. Should the Cowboys actually consider trading Dak Prescott?
We're getting close to the draft,
Yes.
so we're, pulling at every thread here. I don't know.
Hey, thanks for watching Numbskull News, and today we're talking about the possibilities of trading Dak Prescott. And here in the last couple weeks, there's been some stories, some columns written about such a thing, and the story's even made its way to a couple of sports network shows. So I want to try to keep this thing short and sweet, so let's get right to the point.
No, this is absurd. And I will only answer this because I want that check to clear. I can't be messing around right now in these trying times.
Well, number one, it's not absurd. I mean, when you got a guy who's asking for everything, and then he's like, well, I don't want a 5 or 6 year deal. I just want a 4-year deal, which completely, even more so, screw your cap. It's no wonder this story, has taken off a little bit.
I don't think it's absurd at all. I think it's a possibility, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's a possibility. When you have a player and his representation feel as though the number that they want goes above and beyond the number that the organization isn't willing to go to make this happen, then now it opens up grounds for a different conversation to take place.
And there's LeVar Arrington just kind of keeping it simple, all right? And I know he was a dirty Redskin, but he's actually really good on TV. I like the guy. And he's absolutely right on this. I broke it down for myself before, and I have Dak Prescott as the 10th best quarterback in the league this year. But that's with some people being hurt. That's with Andrew Luck retiring. So, really, is he a top 10 quarterback? Well, kind of by default, he's a top 10 quarterback. But he's wanting to get paid like not just the number one, but he wants the biggest contract ever handed out to any one individual player ever in the National Football League. That's where there's some trouble.
We look at Zeke last year. Zeke had the ability to leverage being one of the best, if not the best running back in the league and get that contract based off of that premise. I don't see Dak Prescott having that same value and being able to try to basically hold the team hostage in terms of getting that deal done.
And see, people like Stephen A. Smith, well, he's probably been the most vocal, but there's been a few others that have talked about, well, you paid Zeke, Lyle Collins, you paid Amari Cooper, we paid a lot of people over this last year. People are questioning, well, what's the holdup with Dak? Well, here's the problem. Dak's asking for the most money in the quarterback market. And all these other guys, they got paid, obviously, but every one of them can make the case of being a top 5 in their position, if not the best in their position. Dak can't boast the same thing. He had a lot of hollow numbers last year. Yeah, I mean, it's the best numbers of his career, but you win 8-8 because it's a lot of junk time numbers. Let's be real. I mean, how many times were the Cowboys down a lot in the first half, and Dak goes on and has a great second half, but just still comes up a little short over and over again. So do the numbers really mean that much when you're 8-8 and you're the quarterback? Not really.
If you're going for the largest contract in the history of the league at the position, where is your leverage? And I think that's where the biggest discussion point here comes into play into why this is a debatable topic.
Now, everybody in the media has been talking about Dak's leverage. Oh, he's got all this leverage. He's going to get his money. He's got all this leverage. He really does it. He really does. He's talking about holding out, right? Or not doing the virtual workout crap that's voluntary anyway. But really, because of the COVID-19, the teams can't get together and work out. At least they're not supposed to. Of course, Dak doesn't seem to really care about a pandemic. Does it really matter if you hold out if you can't show up and work out anyway? No. Man, look at all the other quarterbacks that are available. Jameis Winston, Cam Newton. I mean, you got, not scrubs. And say what you want about Jameis Winston and his 30 interceptions. I think that number would come down substantially under McCarthy if the Cowboys chose to go that way. So there's a lot more options than there usually are in the quarterback market. Of course, the trade everyone's that one individual put out there. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name. But the trade was trading Dak and the 17th overall pick up to the Lions for the 3rd pick and a 3rd round pick. And basically you would draft Tua, which means you would have to go and get another quarterback just so you can redshirt Tua for the year and let him be completely healthy. Because, let's face it, the upside on Tua is a hell of a lot more than the upside on Dak. I think we've seen the best Dak's got to offer, and it's not bad. It's just, it's not really what you want when you're going to give that individual that kind of money. If he was getting paid less, you deal with what Dak is, but not when he's making vastly more money than everybody else.
And if you know about the old collective bargaining agreement, that there was, it wasn't that the Cowboys didn't want to give money. There was no opportunity to pay him any more money than he was already being paid. So he made it up in endorsements.
And I included this. There's also another narrative out there. Well, the Dallas Cowboys could have paid him earlier. Number one, they couldn't have gave him more money just to give it to him because of the old CBA. Number two, they tried to sign him last offseason, all the way up into the beginning of last season. But you got to have a player willing to take the deal. And he wasn't willing to take the deal. He's still not willing to take the deal. And one thing that has been very underreported with Dak Prescott is how, he made his money up through endorsements. Not just by a little bit. I mean, he makes more money in endorsements than any other quarterback in the league, any other player in the league. Which is insane. But that's because he has a star on his helmet. Which, evidently, Dak and his team they don't put any value on that when there is tremendous value in being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Now, I'm not saying you trade Dak Prescott. I'm saying you let Dak Prescott potentially walk. Right? And here's the logic behind it. If you can pull off a trade that lands you Tua Tagovailoa, one, you could be better off in terms of his ceiling. And then when you factor in the money you would save if you simply move Dak Prescott, potentially, let's say, $32 to $36 million off the books. You think about it. If you're going to save $20 million, potentially getting as good or a better quarterback, would you take that risk?
Doug Gottlieb, put his own little spin on it, saying, hey, you don't have to trade the guy because, Dak does have to sign his franchise tender. He has to sign the paperwork, basically sign off on a trade because you can't trade him until he signs the franchise tag. So if he doesn't sign the franchise tag, you can't trade him, obviously. And so what Mr. Gottlieb or whatever the hell his name is, what he's saying is you can still go up and get Tua. I mean, really, the Lions are looking to trade down. I don't even know if you have to go up to 3. I mean, really, I don't know that you have to go up to 3. I think you could probably make a trade with Miami and get up to 5 and spend just a hair less. I mean, whatever. But I do like the idea of getting Tua. And everything's predicated on that. If you can make a trade, get up and get Tua, then you just let Dak go. Why would you do that? Well, now you have a rookie quarterback you're not paying a lot to. And let's say you can go out and get Jameis Winston to play for you and start for a year and let Tua sit and make sure he is 100% healthy and up to speed. That didn't hurt Patrick Mahomes any to sit down for a year. And you're kind of looking at it the same way. That's if you truly believe in the player. I kind of do. I mean, the only thing anyone's worried about at all is that hip, right? That's pretty much it. There's been some other injuries, of course. So if you're Dallas, do you do that? Well, you're taking a shot. You're taking a risk, because just paying Dak, pretty much what you got. Tua is the great unknown. Personally, the only reason I'm doing this video is I think we're getting to an impasse. And I think, to me, as a fan, I appreciate what Dak does. I appreciate Dak's time here. And if you can get him at a reasonable deal where it doesn't kill your cap and you can keep surrounding Dak with high-quality players and keep them, re-signing good players and good draft picks, then I'm all for signing Dak Prescott. But when he's wanting the most money ever paid to an individual player, then I don't get it, because he can't carry a team. We know that he can't carry a team. He couldn't carry it this year. I mean, Dallas needed Dak to carry him. He carried him to 8-8. Good job. Had all kinds of records, at least for himself, right? He set new career standards for himself. He still had games where he was scoring less than 10 points. That's not going to cut it when you want that kind of money. When you want that huge freaking money. That big barrel, that proverbial Brinks truck. When you want the Cowboys to back that up and just make it rain over the top of you. You know, I got a real problem with that. I have no problem with Dak at $30 million a year. I got a big problem with 36 or 37 a year. That it just gets stupid. Then at the end of the contract, you're talking about his last year of a 4-year deal being, $41, $42 million. I don't give a damn where the salary cap goes. It's not going to make any difference, and that's the problem. So are the Cowboys going to try to trade up and get Tua? No. However, could Tua potentially fall? There's been a lot of talk about Tua falling. If he's there at 12 or 13, you have to think about it. You have to think about it. And if by some miracle he gets to 17, he won't. But by some miracle he gets to 17 and it costs you nothing just drafting him, you better not pass that dude up. But really, if he's at 12 or 13, you had better get on the phone. You bet, because that's just too close for a guy who's a generational talent. I mean, injuries. I know there's injuries. I know. Believe me, I know. But I'm willing to take the risk. And as far as his hip goes, most doctors say, you know what, it shouldn't really be a problem with him until his mid-30s. Then there may be some residual problems when he gets older. But through his 20s and early 30s, it really shouldn't be a problem. So, to me, the risk is mitigated, especially if you let him sit a year. Let him learn, let him hold a clipboard, let him see how to be a professional. Just get everything the coach wants done, get the playbook down, the whole spiel. Then I think you can get one hell of a player. And by the way, I think someone who could potentially be closer to Mahomes than Dak will ever be. And if one day you want to give Tua the big, gigantic payday, more than likely, he'll look like a guy who deserves that money. Dak's not a top dollar quarterback, y'all. He's not. I love him, but he's not. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.